Are we live, bro?
Live right now?
Are we live?
I'm live on my end, so. You want to go live?
Yep. Well, I'm going live.
Alright, I'm going live. And I'm going crash.
Let me just check.
It won't let me go live, so I'm just going to go straight. Okay, there we go. Drop your thumbnail in the Google Drive.
Okay, let me see.
You know what? I'm not gonna go live. I'm just gonna do a stream. That's all. Because I want this to be on your channel, and then I'll just, if it all checks out, I'll just post it on my channel under the guide for it.
Right.
I want to see if you can go away and we made a podcast. Then we'll do I'll be the host and all that.
Doesn't look like I put it in my.
I'm not gonna do no DNA to Brandon unless it's, as soon as I hosted a DNA to podcast, but I'm here because he said on the CoreXReplay. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just gonna do a behind the scenes stream for just make sure my recording is alright.
Yeah, I don't think I have it on my in my Google, but I can send it real quick.
Okay, bet. This is before. Okay, bet. Yup. And okay. Streamlabs is video. I'm sorry.
Okay, this is how I'm gonna do it.
I'm ready. Let's go. I'm ready, boy. Man. Music on deck. Soundboard on deck. Gucci.
Alright, I sent you the thumbnail.
I bet. Are we good, bro? We are good. I'm recording on my end.
Alright.
Hold on.
I wonder if can you change your thumbnail on the fly? I think you gotta wait until it's. It would say my connection is poor, bro. Bro, my connection poor, bro. I gotta set up my lights. Alright. We live, bro. What up, everybody in the chat? Anybody that's viewing? Welcome to the. That's right, we live, bro.
Alright, let's go. Let's get it.
Welcome to the CoreXReplay Podcast, y'all. First ever episode. Episode 0. Maybe episode 1 if we do well. But I'm your host, Z Saber, and I'm here with Shinizaki, host of the future DNA the podcast. What's up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shinizaki, we back.
That's right.
Right now, host of the DNA the podcast, dedicated network to advanced technology analysis. Talk about the Steam Deck, the Legion Go, anything handheld wise. If you want to check it out, come hit me up. Shinizaki YouTube.
That's right.
Podcast coming up soon. We're gonna talk about the Legion Go 2, everything that we know about it so far.
That's what's up. Fire.
Right now on the CoreXReplayPodcast.
That's right.
We about to get it cracking. So
Yes. The Nintendo Switch 2, I should say, was just announced. Everybody's going crazy over it on both sides. We see what's going on with it. We don't know what's going on with it. The Direct is coming up, and we ready to talk about this trailer, what we heard, what we've seen, and just what we think about it, because we got the ROG Ally, we got the Legion Go 2, we got the MSI Claw, we got all of these like Windows-based handhelds that's out here, and Nintendo coming out with something new. And so how is this all gonna measure up? What's gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? So let's buckle up, grab your snacks. You know, we gonna power up this discussion, and we gonna get into it. So we got a lot to cover too. So this trailer, it starts off. Let me pull it up so I can see it. So it starts off with showing the original Switch, and when we see it, it starts expanding, it starts updating, and right away we notice some differences when it comes to what we have to look forward to with the new one. The first thing that popped up to me right away was a double Type-C USB ports. Now, right away I'm thinking this is great, because if you had the original Switch, there's only one of these boys, and when you got this in tabletop mode with the kickstand, this is the OLED, by the way. There's an issue. You can't charge it while it's in tabletop. So you gotta either hold it in your hands and deal with it, or lay it flat and be in an awkward position with the Joy-Cons off, trying to, play your game. So that's a great addition. And I can only imagine what accessories is gonna come out, what peripherals is gonna come out straight from Nintendo themselves, and wherever else. And we're gonna get into it when it comes to these Joy-Cons too. But you got an upgraded heatsink exhaust on the top, and let's see what else. The kickstand is pretty much almost identical to the OLED. It has a very beefy hinge that's very strong and durable, and so you can almost lay it completely on the side. Can you see that? So it's big upgrade to the original Switch, where it was just that little bitty tab. Right when I saw that with the original trailer, I was like, there's no way that this is going to be able to hold up the Switch like the original Switch. And it worked for a little bit, but it was breaking. A lot of people's kickstands was breaking, so they upgraded it with the OLED. And we see that they're keeping that design here. And let's pull up some of the specs real quick, because right now we're expecting this screen to be around 8 inches, which in comparison to the what was that, the Nitro? The Nitro, Acer Nitro is, yep. So in comparison to the original Switch, if we're thinking about the OLED, there's 8 gigabytes more RAM memory, which brings it out to 12 gigabytes versus 4 gigabytes. This is a huge jump in the latest Nintendo Switch. 239 megahertz faster GPU, 75.8 gigabytes higher memory bandwidth. The Wi-Fi version is rumored to be Wi-Fi 6, which is pretty good. It's rumored to have 129 gigabytes more internal storage. Higher resolution. Now, I'm hoping that it's 1080p. Now, I've heard some people say 1440p and 4K and all this. Well, even the 720p screen with the OLED display is immaculate. And I just think that I would rather have the OLED versus the higher resolution. And if we're talking about Nintendo too, you gotta think like Nintendo's way of developing games is AAA in their own way. And so we can expect that the graphics is not going to be that big of a jump, especially in comparison to the Sony's PS5 and Xbox Series. It's always going to be a generation behind. And so we can temper our expectations regarding that. Now, I've heard people talk about ray tracing. I don't think that's going to happen because that's going to severely tank the performance. And we already need our games to be at 60 frames. So, no way. So, yep. So we got a lot to look forward to. And going to the Joy-Cons, when we look at the Joy-Cons, the original ones, they got this small SL and SR buttons for the shoulder buttons, and they're greatly improved. They're longer, and I'm seeing that they're also magnetic, which when you connect it to the railing, it's actually going to connect with those buttons. And then what happens is this button that you use to release, that's going to be the button to push the Joy-Cons off. So I thought that was interesting. And what happens is that if you're holding it and maybe you're holding it on the side like this, I was a little worried thinking about, well, maybe it's going to slide off or maybe it's going to pop off. But this mechanism for the lock is supposedly secure, and it's also going to have that cartridge piece that's going to be in the middle that's also going to lock. And it's set up to where you can go only one way, because a lot of people, like kids, they try to put the Joy-Cons on the wrong side and everything like that. But oops.
So I'll say this, Joe. They actually have reports that just came out today, yesterday, talking about that people are worried about that little cartridge breaking inside the Joy-Con.
Absolutely.
Not even the Joy-Con. So we got to see the integrity of the device.
Absolutely.
Speculating, and that's cheap. Come on now, $399, good quality.
Yeah, if you put this in the hand of a child, they're going to figure out how to break it without question. I mean, you put enough pressure on this alone, it's going to snap off.
Well, that's part of the R&D process, is that they look at the durability of every device and part of bringing it out to the market. They purposely snap stuff to see how much force it takes to break this or that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope that they got that all figured out prior to releasing.
Exactly. Hey, the sooner the better. We needed this years ago, like not too long before or after the original Switch came out. We needed this because the original Switch was already old when it came out. The architecture and the CPU, the the GPU, everything.
The thing that makes me worried though is that if they come out in June, I mean that's about the time that they're talking about the Legion Go 2 coming out. So, you know, it's a lot of stuff coming out in June, bro, as far as handhelds. And you're talking about Acer Nitro, that's gonna be out around the time. The Switch 2 is gonna be out around the time, and the Legion Go 2. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, they be smart to figure it out in May, because right after the direct, everybody's gonna be ready and charged up to buy it.
That's true.
They gotta wait an additional 2 more months, especially if the report said they got 20 million consoles ready to go right off the first year. I mean, we should be able to see that stuff in Target, Walmart, Best Buy, everywhere without waiting because of scalpers type stuff, you know? We should be able to see that stuff everywhere right off the bat.
We should. They would be smart to do that because at the end of the day, I think what's going to be the ending factor with all this is the price. Now, the Nitro, it starts off at $800. So if you're looking at 800, you're looking at 1,000, you're looking at 1,100. I mean, the average person is not going to spend that much money on a handheld. Now, you got to be a diehard, like heavy, like you want the latest and greatest right in the palm of your hands, and you don't care about that, you getting it. But I see the mass majority of people really leaning toward the Switch, especially if it's no more than $400.
I will say, of course, I have to agree with that. Think about the Steam Deck being $399, the Switch being $399. One, keep up with the Nintendo. Two, Valve limited themselves by pretty much gatekeeping their Steam Decks. They're not available in the US market. You can't just go and say, hey, can I buy a Steam Deck? You know, because you have to get it from Valve. So that, I believe, is hindering their sales because the PC gaming really started to take off during the pandemic. That's when everybody wanted to get into video games in 2020. Everybody wanted to be a gamer. Everybody wanted to stream. Everybody wanted to do this and that. So Steam Deck coming out, you already knew what was up with gaming because PC gaming took off harder during that time. Nobody could do anything but play video games. You know, think about Animal Crossing for the Switch and stuff. It just became more popular when people were forced to stay home.
Man.
So the people who would go into Best Buy, Walmart, Target, or whatever to buy a Steam Deck is people who just got into gaming, just got put on with it, but those sales were pretty much like X'd out because they only could get it through Valve. And if you don't have a Steam account, you're not even gonna know, like, you're gonna look up Steam Deck on Google and be like, where to buy, and then you're gonna be like, Steam? Like, I don't even know how to do all this, so I'm just not even gonna buy it. I'm just gonna get a Switch. And I believe that's what a lot of people did. They heard about it and they was like, you know what, I don't know how to buy it, so I'm just gonna get a Switch. Now, the other thing to add to that is, they told you couldn't buy the Steam Deck unless you had made a purchase on your Steam account. So
I remember that. I remember
that.
that.
Also killed the sales of the Steam Deck.
Yep.
So I feel like at that price, it was competitive, but all of the loops and hoops to going around buying it is what kind of caused it to not sell as good as it potentially could have. Now Nintendo is like, it's gonna be everywhere. You get it on Nintendo.com, you get it on Rakuten, you go get it on Amazon.
What? No, what?
All these different websites, stuff you ain't even heard of. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get it on all these websites.
I don't know, bro. You're gonna get some third party. You're gonna get some knockoff, some Alibaba type of Switch.
For real. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the Switch is going to sell more just based upon availability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if you want to talk about Steam Decks going into Best Buy, the closest thing to that will be this Legion Go S with the Steam OS on it. That's going to be the closest thing you can do to Steam Deck out of Best Buy. But, you know, the thing that I'm, you know, kind of like, okay, why would I get the Legion Go S over the Steam Deck? There's only one reason why, is because of the screen. And the performance, I believe, the Go chip that's in there, they call it the AMD whatever Go chip. That's a performance is going to be pretty much neck and neck with a Steam Deck.
Man.
It might be a little bit better, but it's like the only reason why I would get that over the Steam Deck is because I can go in the store and buy it and I get it from the store. Otherwise, you're literally just buying the Steam Deck. So,
now, what's the specs on that screen itself? Is it a LCD screen or is it a? Okay. Yeah, because the Steam Deck is what's the resolution on that one?
That's a good question. It's 800p. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
So it's a low resolution. So
It's not fully 1080.
Those are specs that we need to find out if they're going to have on the Nintendo Switch. It's going to have VRR, and if it's going to have a high refresh rate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why would I buy this Legion Go S over the Steam Deck? Because I get a better screen, I get 8 inches, and it's running at 120 hertz with VRR rather than 90 hertz screen that's 800p. So I'm guessing that this Legion Go, the Go chip that's in here, is a little bit better than the Steam Deck in order to help push those pixels in the frame rate as well as the VRR. So you are getting a little bit better version of the Steam Deck. If you want to do brand loyalty, I ain't mad at you either because the Steam Deck man comfortable, right?
I mean,
Hey, so
it has the benefit of being out longer than what's coming up. So it has that brand recognition and not that foothold in that sense. Yeah.
because you know what happens on paper is different to what happens in the wild. They could have did all this engineering and working together, and then when they get out in the wild, people find all kind of bugs and other weird stuff with it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We already know the Steam Deck, it ain't got no bugs, and that's mainly because it's Steam OS and it's built from the ground up from their head, from Valve. It's their quality. Of course, they're gonna make sure there's nothing wrong with it. It's like taking the car to the dealership with the brand that the car is. You're not gonna take it to BMW to a Ford dealership. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. What's coming up with these handhelds because it's getting real hot, man, and I'm hearing word that all the companies are pretty much pivoting to the handheld market. You know, because how many people actually have times to sit on the couch with the controller in your hand before the baby start crying, before you gotta cook, before you gotta get ready for work? You know, nobody has that much time anymore. You know, growing up we had that, but now it's like we're on the go. We're sitting in the car more than we're sitting on the couch.
I mean, it truly is the way to go. Now, if you want to dive into that, we could dive into that because I got a lot of stuff to say.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I was just gonna go back to this Switch and just breaking down this trailer
Yeah, we can break
because what's fascinating me the most about this is the Joy-Cons themselves, because these right here, they weren't comfortable. It wasn't cutting it. You know, even had issues connecting to the console itself, and I really think they improved this a lot. There were some photos that came out with the motherboard and the internals and everything, and you could see the magnets that's in there holding the Joy-Con in place, and then also what's going to connect to the console itself, the railing. And so what's interesting is that in this trailer they showed the stick swerving, And I wonder if that's them hinting that, oh, we got better sticks now. It's not gonna drift.
Now they're not Hall effects sticks. Not that I. Let me just double check my switch. Does the Switch 2 have Hall effects sticks? Okay, so right now they are reportedly incorporating Hall effect analog sticks. This will make sense. Now this is coming from Game Rant, okay? So this will make sense. This would make the controllers immune to stick drift, one of the most prevalent issues with the original Switch Joy-Con.
Yep.
More details about this is going to be revealed April the 2nd on what they use for those Joy-Cons.
Yep.
Now, they definitely have to emphasize that because that was a big deal with the Switch. Okay? My Joy-Cons currently have stick drift at this point. So,
Pretty much half of mine's have it.
you know, and it's just, that's a flop. That's a flop. No console is immune to, you know, things that will break down. That's what I mean. Like when stuff come out to the wild, stuff start coming out the woodwork. So going back to the Legion Go S, we got to see how they run on that VRR specs, benchmarks and stuff. We got to put that to the test. It sounds good on paper, but let's see what it happens in a while.
And I'm looking at this trigger. I don't think they're analog triggers. I think they're digital again. I haven't looked into that. But even the shoulder button is longer, which when you have it on the side, like in the trailer, you can see that there's a little button in the front, which is probably going to be like some type of sensor or touch sensor, maybe like for the scroll wheel. And then this button will be the left click, and then this button will be the right click. So then you're holding it, and there's a base that goes to it, which is part of the arm strap, and that's going to be used to, like, I mean, even when I put it, the old Joy-Con on the side, you know, it's standing up, it's stable, you can move that around. It's not as uncomfortable as you would think it is, but what I would do is I would immediately get a third-party accessory and pop that boy in there to where I'm having an actual mouse here, and the Joy-Con is just sliding in the middle, and then you're gonna get the same feel, the scroll wheel, the click, the right click. You know what I'm saying? No, but it's speculated that if you look at the trailer, there's a little piece on the front of it when it's sitting on the side. And then also, it looks like there's sensors, AR sensors, on the bottom of both. The old Switch only has it on the bottom of the right Joy-Con, which these were mainly used for games like Labo that was using a sensor, like motion sensors and stuff like that. And they really didn't implement it. A lot of the developers didn't really implement that feature. But obviously, if this is true that these Joy-Cons has on both, Nintendo still plans to doing something with it. Now, if they're going to do it, it's to be seen.
I'll show you what that is. That's the gimmick, like the touchpad on the back of the PSP.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. So Nintendo is known for putting gimmicks in each of their consoles. That's just what they do. Sometimes developers use them, sometimes they don't. I mean, even with the PS5 controller, you know, we got the adaptive triggers, we got the updated rumble and stuff like that, and the only game that's using it is Astrobot. So yeah, Returnal. honestly. Honestly. So yeah, I'm curious to see how durable those that little tab inside the railing is, because that definitely is like something that will break before anything else, even the kickstand. Alright, so let me touch on this Mario game real quick. Now, alright, so when we first saw this, my initial reaction is that this is Mario Kart 8. But then in the middle of it, I'm like, why would they show Mario Kart 8? I mean, it's the best selling game on the Switch, no question. But they're showing this game, and immediately it looks the same. That's true.
I mean, wouldn't they think, you know, I mean, it's not like, this is very common. It's very common in the game industry that they do stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, the diminishing returns is even known and seen with Nintendo, not just AAA and like Sony and Xbox. Like, this is something across the board.
Yeah, because what I'm essentially trying to say is, like, think about Smash Brothers. Yeah, it's the same. It's just a couple new characters and a couple new levels and a couple new items to use on the field. But essentially, it's the same thing. You know, it's just rebranded and it got a little refresh.
Which is what people want at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do with Switch. We want more of what we already have, except better. You know, just better, more powerful, more screen, more. You know, I'm hoping that because it's bigger now, it's more comfortable. Because I will definitely say after touching the Steam Deck and all these other mobile handhelds, feeling that, like touching that, just feels like a joke. This is like a toy.
Man, Fisher Price.
Bro, for real, like literally, when I hold the Steam, not Steam, but the Switch, I feel like I'm gonna drop it. You know, like it's so small and slippery. It's like real good ergonomics, no texture on the Joy-Con. It just
Yeah.
plastic.
It's very smooth. It's a glossy almost finish to it. You need a case or like a satisfied grip or anything like that.
I'm hoping that they fix that. You know, it's getting bigger now. Some of those things kind of get washed out. You don't think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and going back to this Mario Kart, I immediately saw the stage and the environments, and I'm like, this is new. But then I'm like, well, I didn't play Mario Kart Tour that much. Maybe this is Mario Kart Tour brought to the Switch too. But again, why would that be? So, without a doubt, this is a new Mario Kart. And as it's zooming out at the end of the trailer, you see it's being put in the dock, which I'm very curious as to if this is going to output 1080p or if it's going to output 4K. But it's showing on the brick screen, and the game zooms out, and maybe this is hopeful thinking, but the draw distance is very far. Like, you can see very far out on this trailer, and maybe this is the power of the new system. But the thing that people was saying that would signify it as a new Mario Kart is DK. Now, out of all of this that's happening in this trailer, these dudes out here talking about DK, you could barely see him, bro. Like, you go back to the trailer and you look at this, he's way in the distance, way in the back. Most people be looking at Mario, be looking at the kart, be looking at like the resolution, the clarity of the image. And they looking at DK. This dude, come on now. So that was interesting.
I didn't see on the trailer that they ever seen
Yeah, it's such a short, brief moment, but right as it showed, right as the switch flipped over, and you could see the screen, which I'm not realizing, the bezels on these boys is smaller. No, they're bigger than the OLED.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that was the first thing that I noticed self-consciously is those bezels are big.
At least on the sides.
At least on the side. And you know what? Of course they're big because they want to come out with an OLED machine. Like now
Yeah.
they do stuff like thinner bezels, OLED screen, more internal storage, different. They want to do a refresh of it. The same way that PS5 is.
Absolutely.
Y'all can put it in the chat if y'all got a PS5 Pro. But I ain't got a PS5 Pro. I ain't
Man, I thought about it like this close, you know. I thought about it and I was like, man, what am I thinking?
It's like games like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. People were complaining about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
But it's coming out on PC. If you got a physical PC, that's your PS5 Pro right there. You can just do your anti-aliasing, all of your motion blur, frames, and now it's better than it was on the PS5 base and practically the Pro.
Exactly.
XR, because the PS5 Pro ain't got no 32 gigs of RAM. Shoot, my PC got 32 gigs of RAM, so
And that's
Windows are coming out. Legion Go S Windows variant got 32 gigs of RAM.
and that's the thing. It's like even though these consoles have these specs, it's up to the developers to really utilize it. You know, there's a lot of processes and stuff that's going on in the background. You know, we'll never see it as a gamer, but it's affecting the performance as we're playing.
Well, think about it. Each one of those adaptive triggers and stuff like this is a patent that they use.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to go in there and get extra money to get those resources out on that game unnecessary. That's why a lot of PS5 games ain't really using adaptive triggers. If they are, it's in one segment in the game.
Yep.
One segment in the game.
Most likely it's in the very beginning.
Right. Out of the 40-hour campaign, you got one segment where you got resistance triggers.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're putting all this stuff in here, and then they're not even implementing it.
Yeah, so looking at the lanes, you can count 24 racers right in the very beginning. And people pause it right here to just, you know, find that out. So, I mean, that's cool. What I really want from this Switch is I want a better online integration. Do you remember? Do you remember when we tried booting up Smash Ultimate and we tried getting on a match?
I remember trying to fiddle with that app and trying to get that going in conjunction, trying to get the game used. But it was, we ended up trying to do they had in-game chat or something like that.
Yep, that's the first game we tried out with the chat. Mm-hmm.
But the point is, Nintendo, I believe, was trying to do these online experiences, online capability behind like a saving grace, like a scapegoat, saying that the interest started to go down,
Mm-hmm.
the sales started to tank, the investors were like, what are y'all doing? Then they said, okay, all right, what's in the hat? We never did Bluetooth yet. We never did online voice chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do Bluetooth first. Then they put out an update, Bluetooth. You know what I'm saying? Like, why y'all let us wait 5-some years, bro, why y'all let us wait 5-6-some years for Bluetooth? Bro, are you kidding me right now? Come on, Nintendo. Don't do that again.
Man, I feel that, man. I have a feeling that it's a high chance that they will do it again. But maybe they're learning at the same time. Maybe they're seeing their mistakes. You know, with Doug Bowser at the helm this time. You know, before it was Reggie. You know, now we got Doug. Maybe he's seeing what's truly profitable, what's truly going to make money, what's truly going to bring up positive customer base, and he's pivoting toward that. Now, the wrinkle in that would be what's going on over in Japan. That's what's going to throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. But what we're seeing here is very promising. So, yeah. Yep. Yep. So they're gonna have some hands-on events for the Switch 2. It's gonna be in Seattle, New York, and what's the other place? Or Toronto. I think it was Toronto. Yeah. Yeah. Come to our neck of the woods for once. Like, come on now. Yeah. So hopefully we'll see. I mean, if anything, they'll have it at Best Buy. Yeah. Yeah. So that's our impressions of the Switch right now. I do have some things that I did want to talk about further. They didn't have the C button on this trailer. You want to know why? Oh, you know why? Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The way they revealed this Switch, literally shadow dropped the Switch, is a product of the. Why do I say that? Because even Nintendo knew, everybody and their dead grandma knew what the Switch looked like, what the capabilities of it were, everything. So there was nothing to get really excited about.
Everything we've seen is true.
Everything we've seen is true. That's why everybody's making videos like this was the most boring reveal ever. Well, why is that? Because we saw all of the snacks before we got to eat them.
Yep.
Period. We already knew what was out there. So what was Nintendo going to do that was going to hype this up besides just showing us what we already know in one official video?
Yep.
They knew that this was going to be the case. And to be quite honest, it kind of reminds me of the PS Vita. It reminds me of how Sony said, because you guys are going on Henkaku, you're going on these websites, and you're homebrewing it, we're not going to support it. And we're going to make y'all upset and suffer. And if y'all want to keep this thing alive, it's up to you, because y'all are defiling my product. Y'all putting Henkaku on it. Y'all putting micro SD cards in it, in the game slot, getting extra storage, doing all this other weird stuff. So you know what? It's in y'all hands as a form of punishment. So I feel like the same way Nintendo said, well, I'm gonna give y'all the most basic old trailer because y'all have already exploited everything. And the one thing that we can't keep a secret is the C button. That's it. That's why they didn't officially show it, because they gotta keep something in speculation leading up to it. So right now, that's the only thing.
And the OS.
And the OS.
Because let me tell you, this OS is so clunky. They really shaved it down for the original Switch. We don't have any themes. We don't have any alternate colors. We had black and white for the last 8 years we had black and white on her Switch OS.
To my point earlier, I believe the Bluetooth, the background changing,
Yep.
you know, all of that stuff was kept in the bag for if we ever start losing sales, we're going to start implementing smaller drip feeding updates. And if we don't ever have to reveal them, we'll never have to reveal them. But in case we do, this is what we're going to do. So we still have hype and appreciation.
Let me ask you something. Each time Nintendo released a Switch update, what was in the patch notes?
I wasn't up with the patch notes.
Stability improvements.
That's it.
It's got enough stability already. What you releasing stability improvements for?
The stability improvements literally was one of the most basic OS that you could have. This OS is like Walmart brand OS. You know what I'm saying? It's the great value of software engineering. There's nothing in it that's intricate.
You can't even say Goodwill because you find good stuff in Goodwill.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this. How many stability updates can you do for a basic OS? That OS is running off of what? 3 gigs of RAM? This Switch got 4 gigs of RAM?
4 gigs, bro.
Bro, that OS, what do you need stability on an OS that's running on 4 gigs of RAM? Come on.
Yep. And you would think that they would fix the eShop too. Cause just think about the eShop, how clunky it was going on there, and you can't even go to the search box and really type in what you looking for before you looking at nothing but orange and white.
The only stability update that Nintendo needed to do was when you're updating a game, have an update in the background, my
Yes.
in the background. You mean to tell me that I can't get off of this screen to play my games because this is taking 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 3 hours to download an update?
Yep. Yep.
Come on, bro. Come on.
I really need them to fix that.
8 years, and I'm stuck on the installation screen before I can play 4 frames.
Oh, by the way, you want to get on Warframe? How do I message you to let you know? Let's get on Warframe. You got the Nintendo app on your phone? Let me send you a message. Instead of calling you, instead of texting you, I gotta message you on the app. Hey, get on Warframe.
Bro, this is gonna be an overly inflated Nintendo Direct because they're gonna explain simple stuff like that should have been here already. So you know what? I'm anticipating that this is gonna be a very boring Direct, just like it was a very boring reveal. Because all of us are gonna be like this. We should have had that.
It's a hot take, bro.
We should have had that. We should have had that. We should have had that. Oh, finally, about time. And the only thing that we're gonna be happy about is the C button and the release date.
And they still gonna be mad.
Exactly. That's the only thing we're gonna be happy about is the C button and the release date.
Yep.
And hopefully the price. You know, because I mean, it's gotta be $4.99. It's gotta be $3.99. Because I believe the OLED version is gonna be either $4.99 or $4.50. So they did $50 more for the OLED original. They might do $50 to $100 for the OLED Switch 2.
Mhm.
Because we
Yeah.
know it's coming. It's not a secret. We know it's coming.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, man, we're gonna see with this Mario Kart what's going on with the screen and OS. That's to be determined at the Direct. And we got Xenoblade Chronicles X coming out. We got Metroid Prime 4 on the horizon. There's so much that we don't know still. None of these, even though they're coming out in 2025, we don't even have dates. And we're already what? Well, we're not too far in, but come on now. If it's in 2025, you should know by now. You know, and I think they're saving it for something. So it may be these other handhelds that's around the corner and that's coming out is making Nintendo like really calculate their steps and really figure out how to strike. But yeah, and the other thing, we don't know if this is Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart X. And so that's to be determined. I think it's Mario Kart X. Cause, yeah.
I don't think they're gonna struggle to sell the console. The only thing they're gonna struggle with is keeping it in stock. But the problem that I'm afraid of is that most people are not gonna upgrade this Switch who are not diehard.
Mhm.
What I mean by that is the casual parent is not gonna go all out of their way to provide this Switch to their children who already having fun with the Switch.
Yep.
Now it's gonna take the child themselves to say, "Mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy, I need a new Switch." You know what I'm saying? It's gonna have to take. I got you right here.
It's gonna have to take them. Mommy, mommy, can you give me the new Switch? Can you give me the new Switch? Mommy, daddy, can you give me the Switch? All my friends at school got it. All my friends at school got it. I want it too.
That's what they're gonna do, bro. You know, that's what they're gonna do. And the parents are gonna be like, "Well, don't you got the Switch? What about all the games I got you?"
It's broke.
They're gonna be like, you know, and that's the only way they're gonna upgrade, bro. But if you're not like somebody like us who's dedicated,
You better have good grades.
Exactly, you better have good grades.
You better not be on punishment.
Exactly. Because what they did, what they already implanted multiple switches in people's households. And the parent isn't going to be like, "I'm not dishing out $400 4 more times just for you to have the same games that you already play on your device now." And you better look.
And here's the thing.
They better support them old switches, bro. Because that's 150 million out there in the wild. If they don't support it,
Bro,
they're in trouble.
the problem with this is that the Switch 2 can play Switch games, but the Switch can't play Switch 2 games. So if you get one Switch 2 and everybody else got Switch 1s, all the kids gonna be fighting over that Switch 2.
Well, the other side of it is for developers. If they're developing a game for the Switch 2, does that mean that it can't run on the Switch 1? It's the Xbox and Xbox Series S situation.
All over again, bro.
All over. It's the same situation. So it's almost like they gotta take studios and divide them.
Separate them, yeah.
For the original Switch on 4 gigs of RAM versus the Switch 2.
Which brings up the question, how much third-party support is really coming?
Bro, it has to be a lot, because if they have to show their Switch in January from all the third parties to show their games in April, I'm talking about I better see 45 games minimum on that.
Man.
That direct better be an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. An hour for showing us the console and the capabilities, and an hour for showing us games.
It ain't gonna be that long. It's probably gonna be 40 minutes max. 40-minute direct.
Bro, they can't skip these features.
Yeah.
Unless it's that bland.
I mean, Nintendo got out of the power race a long time ago. I mean, we talking back in Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64 era, even Nintendo 64. They made a decision that was very detrimental to them. You know, they sticking to the cartridges instead of moving over to the optical disc. Even now, they're using cartridges. They have to use cartridges because it's in a handheld form. But look at, you know, with the Wii U and everything, it was difficult to develop on. You know, so these developers, they're hopping on the bandwagon now because we see what happens with the Wii U. They hopped on strong for the launch with a lot of support because the Wii was successful. So we're going to see that again because the Switch was successful. A lot of the developers are jumping on the bandwagon.
Well, that's the thing. Think about it. If you are a developer, you have $1 billion budget for every game that you make. Are you Xbox, all that stuff. Bro, nobody's playing Xbox. I got a message for Xbox. I got a message for you.
All right.
Bro, that's how developers are thinking. They're not going to spend extra money unnecessarily to develop their game just because the hype around the console. They're going to spend the least amount of money to develop the game and put it out for the easiest hardware to develop. So, they got to come strong with the third-party support. Because I'm worried that if they do not support that old Switch for at least another 3 years, that's $150 million. It's 150 million gamer database
Mm-hmm.
that you're leaving behind. And you don't even have your first million of the Switch out versus your first couple hundred games where you go for the second Switch. So
Yep.
it's going to be a very terrible move if they do not support the old Switch, which
That's a slippery. It's a dupe.
third parties, I promise you, these third parties will actually develop games to work with the old Switch as well as the Switch.
It's a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword. Otherwise, your PS Vita, your PS4 all over.
Mm-hmm.
Your Xbox Series S and X all over. And look at how Xbox is doing. Are they doing well? Are they thriving?
Man, I heard that they was considering the axing the Xbox back in 2021.
Thank you. Thank you.
Imagine that.
My message for Xbox. I don't believe Xbox knows where to land. I think they took off the launch pad and they're in an airplane and they don't see any landing spot inside. They're just making decisions without having anywhere to go.
They don't see no grass. They don't see no water.
They just in the air, just flying, talking about something. Okay, we're floating now.
And they made the air their abode.
Literally, like they're like, where do we go next? Well, we got everything everywhere. We're still making consoles. We have Game Pass. We can try a handheld.
We're in the air. We're above everybody else. This is great.
Y'all bought all these studios and ain't doing nothing with it. You know, they're doing the classic Looney Tunes approach. You know what that is?
What's that?
They're doing the if you can't beat them, join them. That's
Oh yeah. Making everything the Xbox.
exactly. I can't beat Sony, so
You're an Xbox, bro.
exactly. I'm an Xbox.
Yep.
They're doing the I can't beat Sony, so I'm gonna join Sony's platform by putting my games in. I can't beat Nintendo, so I'm gonna join Nintendo by putting Game Pass in.
Oh, it's a high chance they're gonna do that.
Exactly. I can't, I can't see. This is the problem with the Xbox. The problem with the Xbox One is that they tried to take over delivery. They decided, let me make a console that your cable box gets hooked up to, your sound bar gets hooked up to, your TV gets hooked up to, and it's your game. That confused the market. That confused nobody knew what it was. Xbox One what? Oh, I'm the one thing that takes over everything in delivery. Well, how do I hook it up? Okay, you get game notifications in the middle of Mission Impossible.
Oh, and by the way, the camera that you set up is constantly watching.
Thank you. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. So that was the problem. They figured that if I can dominate the living room, I'm gonna dominate the market. Look at how well that turned out. See, you gotta keep these things in its proper place. You gotta keep the gaming entertainment system where the gaming entertainment system belongs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they already tried to do that by using Blu-ray discs and DVDs. Okay, that worked back in 2000. 2025, that's not working.
Mm-hmm.
That was the problem with the Xbox One. They tried to make it one all, be all, and everything. Look at how it worked out with the PS Vita.
Yeah, look at
One all, be all for handheld.
and the one that came up with the idea. Where is he at?
Exactly.
Nowhere to be seen. So
Back to the Vita. Anytime you try to be a one all, be all, it don't work. Shuhei Yoshida said in an interview that the PS Vita, as we know, had the capabilities to be put in a dock and load up on the screen. Hence, the PS Vita has a separate connection
peripheral.
that was never used. That was probably for the dock. They decided to X that and make the PS Vita TV. Why would you do that?
Mm-mm-mm.
This came out with OLED. This came out with a touchscreen. This came out with a touchpad. This came out with can play your MP3.
Came from the future, bro.
Bro, they tried to make this come from the future. They tried to make this have 3G with the OLED screen, with touchscreen on the front, touchscreen on the back, with the camera on the front, with an extra peripheral to dock to your TV. They tried to make this the end all be all. Look at how it turned out. That never works.
Man.
They had physical and digital games for this. Come on, bro. That don't work, bro. That don't work.
And I love that with that, to where you can buy a game and you can download the digital version of that game. That's honestly, I want Nintendo to do that. I think that would get a lot of people to accepting the digital side of things, and vice versa.
That's why I'm waiting. That's why I, as soon as I 100% because if it's coming out on PC, that means I can put it on my Steam Deck, put it on my Legion Go, take it wherever I want. Guess what? If I want to put it on the TV, I put it in the JSON spot.
Yep.
I add a controller. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just the best way to go.
That sound like a Switch.
Switch. So that brings me to this point. Even though they did that with the PS3 and the PS Vita, where you could buy Trail of the Cold Steel for the PS3 and you get a free copy for the PS Vita, same thing with the PS4. Some games you got a PS4 version with automatically the PS Vita version. We're kind of getting that now by Sony putting their IPs on PC. So when you get done getting all the platinums on them on PC, now you can go and get all the trophies or whatever you want on PC now.
Nice.
On PS5, so you should get all that. So it's like, even though they don't have a dedicated handheld, that brings me to the point of with Sony wants to make another handheld. I'm worried. I'm worried. So I'm saying a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we tapped into the Xbox a little bit. That's all right. You know, I think we
Y'all gotta find that landing pad. Y'all found the launch pad. Y'all are there, but y'all don't know where to land.
man, it's a long way down.
I tell you, they're gonna run out of fuel and they're gonna crash. That's what
They got fuel, bro?
That's why they still flying. That's why they got flight simulator. That's it.
Oh, I guess that's the bottomless wallet they got.
That's it. Flight simulator. That's all they got.
Yeah. They ain't got Halo, they ain't got Gears. A little bit of Forza, but yeah. A closing thought that I want to bring out too is that it's been reported that Nate was not the only one or the first one to know about this trailer coming out. How you feel about that, Shinesaki?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is who else?
I don't have the tweet currently. I seen it the other day. I should have saved it. But there was an individual that reported on the, what was it, the 12th? He said next week is the week. And then it was another tweet from Nintendo's where he hinted at the Switch being announced the day that Donkey Kong Country HD came out. And he said, will you be picking up the game on the 16th? And he spelled B with the two E's. And that's a reference back to the motherboard, where the chip in the motherboard was a B motherboard, like the BEE. So people that knew about that motherboard and the specs and the leaks that came out with that was like, oh wait, is he talking about the reveal for the Switch 2? Maybe this. So it's coming out the day of the release of Donkey Kong Country HD. So yeah, so these guys hinted at it. To me, that's kind of a stretch. Like, not many people may know about that, and maybe there was just a typo. Maybe click the E button twice too many times or whatever. But that was kind of a stretch. But that's what's going on right now. Going around talking about Nate. So Yep. So we know a lot of people knew about it. They were just waiting for somebody like Nate to spill the beans, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we heard that too. Yeah, we heard that too," and that just made everything valid. So yeah. Hey, don't hate on Nate. He got his sources. He got the plug. His father worked at Nintendo, something. So just keep an eye out on him, and let's look forward to this this direct. Yep. So we're gonna cut it here. Thank you guys for watching in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button. Let us know how you feel about the Switch, what's coming up, what you think is going to happen. And let me just get my screen. Oh man, I clicked on something. I don't know what that was that I clicked on. But yeah, y'all, that's going to do it. The first official episode of the Core X Replay Podcast. Shinizaki on deck with the Detonator, the specs, the lowdown, and the reality of these consoles, these handhelds. So,
Shinizaki, we're here on the Core X Replay Podcast. Yeah, we're just talking about the Switch, talking about what's going on with it, breaking down the video. We hope that y'all put in the comments what y'all think, what y'all speculate, what y'all looking forward to with the upcoming direct, Nintendo Direct. Please like, comment, subscribe, support the channel, and we will catch y'all on the next one.
yep. Again, I'm Z Saber at Core X Replay. And remember, guys, cut the fat, shoot for the moon, and remember, we